Today I am going to discuss about elements and compounds. Before that, let me tell about what is chemistry. Chemistry is the study of matter. And what is matter? Matter consists of solid, liquid and gas. In that, again we are categorizing that substance and mixture. Substance is a pure, means it is having either solid, liquid or gas. Mixture means it may be combination of those. And in substance, again we are dividing into two, that is element and compound. Element, definition of element is it is a pure substance which cannot be further divided into, broken into simpler substances, is called element. Element is again divided into metal, non-metal and inert or noble gases. Metal is an element which has a good conductor of heat and electricity. Good conductor of heat and electricity. It also has high melting point and high boiling point. It has a luster and it is ductile. And example I can give magnesium, sodium, Na, Al, aluminium, etc. And now comes non-metal. It is a soft, it has soft, solid or liquid or in gas state, and here there is no luster, no ductile, low melting point and boiling point, and it is a bad conductor of heat and electricity. Heat and electricity. And one more thing is inert gas. It is found in trace amount in air, and these are called as noble gas because these do not react with any of the elements. Example: helium, neon, argon, krypton you can give. For non-elements, example are chlorine, boron, iodine, etc. Next one is atom. What is atom? We know the element gold, and when the gold is divided into smaller parts, and the finest part, the very smallest part, that one we can call it as atom. So atom is the smallest unit of the element which may or may not exist independently but always take part in the chemical reaction. Now is molecule. Definition of molecule. Molecule is a pure, smallest unit of a pure substance exists independently, and it can retain all the chemical and the physical properties of that substance. Example we can give H2, N2, O2. Next one is compound. When the molecule of the pure substance containing two or more atoms combined together in a definite ratio is called as compound. The atom may be of different molecule or it may be same. Means H2 is also means CO2 is a compound which contains C and O2 both. So we can call it as a compound. H2O is also a compound. First, for breaking a compound, chemical compound, I am going to tell one experiment. Here is an experiment to break the compound into elements. Here is one voltmeter, and this voltmeter, it is one cup shaped vessel is placed here, and here two electrodes, platinum electrodes we are placing, and these are connected to the terminals of the battery. And now this half of this vessel we are filling with water. And one more thing, two tubes are there which are filled with acidulated water, and these are placed on that electrodes. Now when the current is passed through the terminal, what happens? The tiny bubbles occur and these are collected on the top of the tube. Here in this tube at negative electrode the hydrogen is collected, and here on the other tube the oxygen is collected. Here we can notice that here the volume it takes is 2, means water formula is H2O. So this will the whatever hydrogen and oxygen collected, it is in the ratio of 2:1. When we see the weight of these ratio of weight of these hydrogen and oxygen, it is 1:2, because the atomic weight of the hydrogen is 1 and the oxygen is 8. So how we can break the compound into elements? This is called as analysis. Now comes formula. How to read the formula? Formula means the formula of the compound. Suppose if we have 2Al, not 2Al, 4Al. Al means aluminium. It contains 4 atoms of aluminium and 2S. It contains 2 atoms of sulfur. By giving prefix and suffix to the compound, we can read 2NaCl, sodium chloride, and zinc oxide. This contains 2 molecules of sodium chloride and also 1 atom of sodium and 1 atom of chlorine. And this zinc oxide contains 4 molecules of zinc oxide and 1 atom of zinc and 1 atom of oxygen. One more is aluminium sulfate, Al2SO4 3, and one more is 3KNO3, potassium nitrite. This aluminium sulfate contains 1 molecule of aluminium sulfate and 2 atoms of aluminium, and here 3 atoms of sulfur and 12 atoms of oxygen. 4 into 3, 12 atoms of oxygen. And potassium nitrate contains 3 molecules of potassium nitrate. In that 1 potassium and 1 nitrogen and 9 oxygen atoms. Next one is structure of atom. Atom consists of small nucleus. In nucleus it contains proton and neutron. Both together we can call it as nucleon. and the electrons are revolving around it. These are the electrons here. These are revolving around nucleus. For this I want to give an example that cricket field and cricket ball. This is the atom boundary. Here we can compare it to the cricket boundary, and the cricket ball, that is we can call it as nucleus of the atom. This is the nucleus. This is the structure of nucleus. And proton, mass of the proton is 1 AMT. Sorry, AMU, 1 AMU. AMU means atomic mass unit. And proton is a positively charged. As proton is a positively charged, we are so only nucleus is also positively charged. And neutron, there is no charge on the neutron. It is also having same mass as that of proton, that is 1 AMU, atomic mass unit. And electron is a negatively charged, and the mass of the electron is 1 by 1837 of 1 proton, or we can say 1 hydrogen atom, because 1 hydrogen atom contains 1 proton. This is the structure of atom. There is one more question. As we know, a positive and negative charges attract each other, and here proton is the nucleus is the positively charged, and the electron revolving here is the negatively charged. Why these both are not attracting each other? There is an attraction, there is a pull by nucleus, but the electron which is revolving, the speed of the electron is 1/10 of the light speed. So there is a centrifugal force also. This counterbalances the pull of nucleus. So the electrons are not falling on the nucleus. Next is the valency. Valency means the number of electrons that are to be donated or accepted by an atom to have 8 electrons at its outermost orbit. For metals, at the outermost orbit we have 1 to 3 electrons which are ready to donate to another atom, which is non-metal. Non-metal consists of 4 to 7 electrons. These at the outermost orbit, which are ready to accept the electrons from metals, we can say. Example, all the metals: magnesium, aluminium, sodium, and these are chlorine, oxygen, like that. Next topic is in valency. In valency again we are dividing into two: positive valency and negative valency. The positive valency, the electrons, the metals which have 1 to 3 electrons at their outermost orbit, which are ready to donate to the other atoms, are called as positive ions or positive electropositive ions. Here we have monovalent electropositive ion, bivalent, and one more is trivalent. Monovalent means it has 1 electron at its outermost orbit and it will donate to the other atom, and it has 2 atoms. and this one has 3 atoms. And some of the atoms like iron, ferrous we can say, this has 2, like we can write ferrous also, for ferric 3 also. Why it is so? If it is +2 means at the outermost orbit we have 2 electrons which are ready to donate, and +3 means one more electron is donated from the innermost orbit of that atom. So we can call it as variable electropositive valency. Like that only, for negative valency we have mono electronegative ion, bi electronegative ion, and tri electronegative ion. And what is orbit? Orbit is a path on which electrons are rotating, revolving. Now we will discuss how to write a formula by having the knowledge of valency. We know the valency. For example, take magnesium sulfate. We know the valency of magnesium and sulfate. The method we are using here to write the formula is crisscross. Here is a one compound, calcium chloride. By using this method, crisscross method, I am going to write the formula of calcium chloride. I know calcium and chloride means Cl. This is the notation we can say. These are the symbols. This is the calcium chloride. These are the symbols of calcium and chlorine. And now the thing is, we know the valency of that. Ca has the valency +2 and chlorine has +1. Okay, now crisscross means this is the first step. We know the calcium and chloride symbol and with valency of that. And now we are writing that in this manner. 2 and calcium for Ca and 1 Cl. Crisscross means we are going to write Ca 1 means no need to write 1, and Cl here it is 2, so we are writing 2. CaCl2 is the formula of calcium chloride. And one more example is magnesium sulfate. Magnesium also has valency 1 and this one sulfate also has 1. So when we do crisscross, when we use crisscross, so it will become MgSO4, magnesium sulfate, because it is 1, no need to write 1. Now we learnt how to write a formula by knowing valency. And next one is chemical equation. Chemical equation. Chemical equation is a statement that describes the chemical changes in with the help of symbols and formulae. Suppose take an example of H2O. H2 and O. So here we are balancing like this. These two we can call it as reactants. Reactants. And this one is the product. Reactants are the compounds which take part in the chemical reaction. So here we have H2, hydrogen and oxygen. We are going to combine these two and we'll get the product result H2O, that is water. This is nothing but water. This plus sign indicates that here we are combining these two, and this one, this arrow mark indicates this is the yield or form. This is what chemical equation. Now I'll tell how to balance the chemical equation. Take one example. 2FeOH3 ferric hydroxide with sulfuric acid. The result is Fe2SO4 3 ferric sulfate plus H2O. Okay, this is the ferric hydroxide, this is sulfuric acid, and the result, the products we are getting is ferric sulfate and water. Here we have two, before going to balance this, we should know what all products we are going to get after the chemical reaction. And here we have two iron atoms. So we are going to write here 2. So 2Fe, 2Fe. And next one comes sulfate. Sulfate, here one sulfate atom is there, but here 3 atoms are there. So here we are going to write 3. So it is balanced, 3 sulfate and 3 sulfate. And next one we'll see for hydrogen. Hydrogen there are 6. So here also we should have 6. Here we have 6 into 2, 12. Here 2 into 3, 6. 6 hydrogen plus 3 into 2, 6 equal to 12. 12 hydrogen we have. Here also we have 6 into 2, 12. So it is balanced. And now comes O, oxygen. Here we have 6 oxygen. This one 2 and 3, 6 oxygen plus 4 into 3, 12. Total 18 we have. And here also we have 4 into 3, 12 plus 6 into 1, 6, 18. So we balanced this equation. Next topic is physical changes and chemical changes. Physical changes means we are going to change the properties of that matter. Here when we change the properties of that matter, what happens? First is there is no weight change. It will be as it is. And the second thing is, first one is there is no weight change. When we do the physical changes, means we change the properties of that matter, there is no weight change. It will be as it is. And one more is no new substances formed. Means there is no new product we'll get. And one more is it will take less amount of heat for changing the state of matter. For example, ice melt. Or we can change, one more is when we boil the water state will change to steam. Means it is changed its matter from liquid to gas. And for chemical changes, example is I told 2H2 plus O, H2O. We are going to get water. Here result. What it is, there is change in the weight. We are combining here two compounds and we are getting one more compound. Here weight change is there. Weight change. And here new substances will form. And Here it consumes more heat energy compared to physical change. And one more important thing here, it is a reversible. Means when when the ice is melted, again we can get it by keeping it in freezer. And here it is not reversible. Means when we got the water as the output, again we can't get it back as hydrogen and oxygen. This is the important thing. An example for chemical changes is cooking food. And we can give curdling of milk. When we get curd, we cannot get it back as milk.